How you doing? So after my last video, I decided that I was going to go ghost and disappear, you know, into oblivion and come back as the best version of myself. But I've hit quite a few speed bumps along the way. One of which concerns my status as a foreign national in Canada, and I am taking whatever steps I can take to redeem my situation, at least enough to make it seem like it's not the end of the world, for me anyways. Another one is pretty basic and rudimentary, and I don't think I need to get too much into the details about it, and it's my physique and my mental outlook on life in general. Even though I am still struggling with addiction and habits that halt progress long term, there's a part of me that wants to change, and I am clinging on to it for dear life. Now, putting things in perspective, I have come to the realization that for a guy like me who hardly has any talent or intellect, the chances of me being successful in life hinge solely on how hard I work and how much energy I invest in getting better at certain things that are going to yield that success in the future. So far, it's been pretty uncertain. I don't know if there is any hope for me, but you know how in a life or death situation, a person would do whatever it takes to choose life. That is me in a nutshell at this point right now. I feel like I've let myself down enough to realize that I can't keep screwing up my life just because I don't give a you know what. At some point, I've got to start getting to the bottom of what holds me back and what makes me so stagnant in life. I look around and I see people that are my age be successful at everything that they do because they just have that sort of aura and presence about them that makes them so attractive and endearing to the world that we live in. And without a healthy belief in your abilities and a passion and desire to persevere, you'll be eaten alive. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You'll be eaten alive without self-belief and hard work. For me, the most important thing to do is to believe that I can get ahead in life by working hard. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't, but it's gotta count for something. It's gotta be worth something. And it comes at the price of comfort. It comes at the price of feelings. And along the way, you develop an unshakable work ethic and discipline that gets you to places that you never even imagined yourself being in. I know I keep saying the same old, outdated ideas that at this point everyone is privy to. In every single one of my videos, I hope to achieve some sort of positive affirmation from the way I speak to the camera, because I think I have mentioned at the top of starting my YouTube channel that in addition to putting out videos that speak to the general public, I'm also putting out videos as a way of self-reflection and speaking to myself. In other words, I'm looking at myself in the mirror and confronting the weak and questionable person that I am, and challenging that person to be something greater than himself. But I've made one too many mistakes. I have screwed up one too many times, and I don't know if for a guy like me who just doesn't possess any natural organic talent whatsoever, if there is light at the end of the tunnel. I don't want to sound bitter or play the blame game, because I'm in a stage in my life where I'm starting to hold myself accountable for all the things that I experience or encounter. At first, it started as something that I thought I was going to do as a career. And I'm talking about my YouTube channel. I thought I was going to make something out of it and let the world see that this journey that I'm on of self-improvement is a lot more deep-rooted than just quitting certain bad habits or turning over a new leaf in a way. But then I realized that the real world has other plans, and the real world doesn't revolve around your intentions to pursue something as a career. The real world is going to bombard you with things that you're not prepared for, and you're going to be taken for a ride all over hell and creation if you're not ready. And when I say ready, I don't mean like ready as in ready for war or something like that. I just make blanket statements. I don't know what happened there. I just make blanket statements in a vacuum and expect my message to get across. I don't know why that is, but I feel like I have overstimulated myself to the point where nothing that I do or say makes any sense. at least to me anyways. I think this is healthy. What I'm doing right now is a part of my convalescence. I'm still trying to get to the point where I don't need to overthink or ruminate too much about what I have turned into, because the idea that everything is possible until your heart stops beating is one of the few things in life at this point that are helping me get through this major turmoil that is taking place. I'm in a very bad place right now, mentally. And after finding out that I am no longer a qualified candidate for permanent residency in Canada, even though it wasn't anything that I overtly or implicitly worked towards, I have fallen apart. Everything was predicated solely on that one opportunity to settle here and make a life worth living. I thought I would be able to be my true self here and I would be able to make opportunities for myself that I wouldn't necessarily be able to back home. But as I mentioned, the real world has other plans, and that's the way the cookie crumbles, You make mistakes, you own up to them, you face them head on and accept whatever consequences that come along the way. I legitimately thought that I had a shot at making things right. I thought that maybe somehow everything was going to work out, but I've stretched myself beyond my means, I am, however, trying to force myself to look on the bright side. Which is weird, coming from a guy who doesn't necessarily condone forcing anything. I am a big proponent of letting things run their course. And when you start meddling and intervening in things that are outside your control and you have no business being involved in, that's when you should start to get a little concerned about your place in the pecking order. Because at the end of the day, if you want to live peacefully and free from disruptions, then you've got to know the importance of not rocking the boat, so to speak. You know, when you are in self-preservation mode, you try to think of some of the most outrageously outlandish ways to save your ass. But what happens when you run out of options? What happens when you run out of time? What happens when you just don't know what to do, or where to go, or how to deal with it? You see, that's when things go south. And for me, boy, have they ever. You know, maybe this wouldn't have been too difficult to bear if I hadn't put all my eggs in one basket. You know, I thought all my problems in life, you know, social insecurity, addiction to lust, and poor physique and all that would go away if I were a PR or a citizen in Canada. I guess I didn't prepare myself enough to realize that whenever you buy into the facade that living abroad is going to make all your problems go away, when you get into that bubble, that's when reality comes crashing down. You set yourself up for a rude awakening by doing that. At the age of 24, I don't know if I have any hope left. I don't even know if I am gonna get another chance to come here and, you know, live out my dream, because that's all I've ever wanted, you know, is to live out the Canadian dream and be in this country, and hopefully raise a family of my own in this country. Travel the world, see different things, different people, different cultures. Who wouldn't want that, right? And I thought I opened that door when I first arrived here. But now everything is going to hell in a handbasket. And I have to saddle up and face the consequences of my actions. I hope this video didn't bore you to tears, because I am a very monotonous, dull, and uninspiring person. You know, every time I speak, I feel like every time I speak, open my mouth, I always feel like something bad happens somewhere. I don't know. I guess trouble follows me wherever I go. I don't know, man. I just am at such an immensely painful and excruciating position that I just can't seem to bring any positivity into my life. So maybe this is where I'll stop talking and start exploring how I can find myself. I wish you all the very best in whatever it is that you're doing. And just take care. Be kind to people. Be kind to yourself. And enjoy your lives. That's it. I'll see you in the next one.